There's been this narrative that is being pushed across social media that the illegal Zimbabweans in South Africa are the main cause of over 90% of the criminal activities that are taking place in South Africa. A lot of people are accusing the illegal Zimbabweans for destroying South Africa. And I think this is a discussion that we are bound to have. This is a conversation that we need to have. But before we even dive into this conversation, I want to let everyone know that I'm not trying to assign blame to anyone. I'm not trying to point fingers at anyone, but I just want to open a platform where we can have these discussions, because I think it's all the illegal Zimbabweans that are now taking the heat. They are now taking the blame. But I think also South Africans, they've got a part, they've got a role that they are playing in this whole scandal. Now, to begin with, I would like to say there's been this gentleman who has been snatching phones, targeting women and snatching their phones, who goes by the name Nobet Sapambela. This is the name that has been published. This is the name that we all have. And we all know the story of this guy who has been snatching phones. But then something happened when he was caught.
If the fact that he's Zimbabwean, I find it out, I think this is about a month or two. Sihlukene. Yabo? Yeah. He has a South African ID. Mina ngazi ukuthi usiyabonga. Yabo? Then yeah, that is just it. Lokho kunye into yakudala futhi le into like mini 2023 lapho nje 2023. Other than that, so ngiyacela Nkosi yami ningangithuki. Ngiyaxolisa ukukhala phambi kwenu umphakathi ngihlukumezile lento.
There was his ex-girlfriend who then took it to social media to let's say to expose this guy. So this lady went on TikTok. That's where I came across this video. This lady went on TikTok and she began talking, exposing this guy. And she said she only got to know that this guy was Zimbabwean after they had broken up. She said she only got to know that this guy's ID was fraudulent. She said his name, he used to go by the name Siyabonga, and he was not South African, he is Zimbabwean. But then one thing really stuck in my head, because what she said is she got to know this a month after they broke up, which means she has been holding on to all this information. Then why are you now coming out after this guy was caught? This gets me thinking that maybe you were holding on to this information because maybe you were still enjoying from whatever mischievous actions he was doing. Maybe after he steals these phones, he goes on to sell them, and then maybe you enjoy the profits together. Because why are you now coming out to expose this guy only after he was caught? Were you even going to come out if he was never caught? Were you even going to come out and act as if you want to help your fellow South Africans, you want to be this good person? Were you even going to do that if he was not caught? That is the real question that I have. So it now gets me thinking that, of course, there are those who are genuine about this movement of trying to drive all the illegal migrants out of South Africa. There are those that are genuine and those that have South Africa at heart. But I believe there's also another group of individuals that sadly we are taking a blind eye to. Those are the South Africans who are also benefiting from these illegal migrants and only start speaking against them if they are not benefiting anymore. Because if you are telling me that you had all this information and now you're just exposing this guy after he got caught, how does that help? If you had come up with this information and took it to social media and exposed him before you got caught, you would have saved so many lives. You would have saved so many people from the trauma of people coming from their bags and snatching their phones. You could have saved a lot. You could have saved people the trouble of trying to go on social media, trying to track this person. You could have saved a lot of people. But instead, you held on to that information that you had. You held on to it, and then you only exposed him after he was caught. So it gets me thinking that maybe you were also benefiting. But I'm not accusing, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I'm just saying this is what it makes me think. Now let's take a look at something that happened a few days ago, or maybe weeks. There was an allegedly illegal Zimbabwean who had a farm in a flat. Yes, I saw the video. This guy had a lot of chickens in a flat. They didn't have enough room. But then the people who caught him, there's something that they said that really stuck to me.
I guess we can arrest you now, man. It's not allowed inside because people can be sick. You don't know chicken flu.
He said something like, do you know that what you're doing is illegal and we can arrest you? If something is illegal and you have caught the person, there's no need for telling them that you can arrest you. Just arrest them. If it's really illegal, just arrest them. Don't say, you can't just catch, let's say, a criminal, maybe who's hijacking a car, and then you tell them that what you're doing is illegal and we can arrest you. The moment you catch someone hijacking a car, just arrest them. You don't need to give any warnings, just arrest the people. Right? So it makes me think that maybe these people are also feeling comfortable to do some things because they know maybe their environment or their location, even if they get caught, nothing really will happen to them. I don't know. It's just me thinking. And I'm not here to assign any blame. I'm not here to try to cause any trouble, but I'm just opening this up so that we can discuss, both of us, Zimbabweans and South Africans, because this notion of saying it's Zimbabweans who are destroying South Africa, I don't think it's really accurate. Of course, illegal Zimbabweans might be playing a part, but there's also the part that South Africans are playing that no one is really talking about. If there are those who are talking about it, it's only a minority, a few people. These illegal Zimbabweans are living in South Africa and they are paying rent to South African landlords. Some of these landlords actually know that these people are illegal, but they still accommodate them and they still make them pay rent. Why? Because they benefit from the rent. They benefit from the rentals that these people are paying. So it doesn't make sense that you just say we just blame everything on Zimbabweans when South Africans are playing a role. When people are crossing the border illegally, there has been allegations across social media that some of these people are actually paying to the authorities so that they get into South Africa illegally. And all these authorities, why is no one questioning them? Why is no one investigating them? We also need that. We also need to know that, because it doesn't make sense to just say someone is crossing illegally and we hear that there are people who are being paid, the authorities who are being paid to allow Zimbabweans to cross, and then no one is talking about it. It's all just Zimbabweans are destroying South Africa. There's been a Zimbabwean guy who was trending a few months ago who was saying, I'm not going back to Zimbabwe. I know I'm illegal, but I'm not going back to Zimbabwe because I paid to be here. Of course, people took that video, and then they were only looking at the illegal migrant who didn't want to go back to their own country. But what about what he was saying? He said he paid to get here. Who did he pay? Why are those people not being investigated? I'm not saying every South African is guilty. I'm not saying every South African who's saying they want illegal migrants out is guilty, because not everyone is doing that. Not everyone is benefiting from the illegal migrants. But there is a group of people, there are other South Africans who people are just ignoring. Those South Africans are benefiting from illegal Zimbabweans. So this is a discussion that I came. A conversation that we need to talk about, a conversation that we need to discuss. Because I do not think it's fair to pin everything on illegal Zimbabweans. Do you know that if the environment was really not conducive for illegal Zimbabweans in South Africa, they would really not encourage each other to go to South Africa illegally? Do you know that if the environment was really not conducive for undocumented foreigners, then there will be less undocumented foreigners. They'll choose a different nation. But because people are living comfortably, the environment has been created that you can be safe as an undocumented immigrant. You can even go to school, get a job, and live a good life without documents. All this was not created by illegal migrants. It's because the environment is conducive for that. And that part is on South Africans, not on Zimbabweans. So I do agree, there are crimes, there are criminal activities that are being done by illegal foreigners. But there's also a part that the South African citizens are also playing. And we need to be talking about that. We need to strike a balance. I don't know. Let me know what you think about what I've just said. If you think it's absolute crap, if you think it doesn't make sense, if you think it's rubbish, you are also allowed to say it. You are also allowed to say whatever you think in the comment section. Let us just have a conversation. It's a conversation that I want us to have. I'm not here to try to point fingers. I'm not here to try to assign blame. But what do you think? Let us have a conversation. Maybe from there we can find solutions.